Good morning, Mark. I think we're live. Lifestyle agents versus power agents. Join us in a moment to see what that means.
Power agents.
Power agents. That gets you pumped up in the morning, doesn't it?
It does. Lifestyle agents.
What's a lifestyle agent versus a power agent? Is it two very different things, or is it quite similar?
One's a pro. One's an absolute pro. And you know what? Real estate's one of those great things. We're not bagging out the power agents that don't have a life, and we're not bagging out the lifestyle agents that are working Hollywood hours. We're just discussing it. And as a consumer, you can choose either of them, but they're both good animals.
Is it possible to indicate before you really get to know one of these whether they are a power agent or if they are a lifestyle agent? What are the key indicators that might sort of decipher between the two? Is it just based on their track record, or can you see it? Can you read between the lines, do you think, Mark, as a consumer?
How do you know an athlete when you see one? How do you know an athlete? You just know. Do you know what I mean? Like when you come across a real estate agent, they're punctual, they're snappy, they're deliverable, they deliver. When they say they deliver, they deliver. They're contacting you at all hours. They're just responsive. They're just speed. That's a power agent, and often these guys are probably a bit addicted to their work, so they probably work too long. What do you reckon an average week for a power an average hours per week for a power agent is that they would work?
Well, you're certainly exceeding the 80 38 and a half hours, probably talking close to double that for a realistic power agent who's really, taking pride in what he does or she does, compared to a 9 to 5 lifestyle agent. I think it might be a little bit of a slack word to refer to them. It doesn't take anything away from these people, as you say, but there is got to be significant differences. Does someone clock off at 5 o'clock and then they're unreachable until 8:30 in the morning the next day, or is your agent going to be messaging at 11:30 at night if you've got questions? Big difference, isn't it?
Well, when you're a consumer, what do you want? I'd love to know what people watching want, but when you're a consumer, what do you actually want? Guys and girls, what's Lisa saying guys and girls for? But these, I think that what does the consumer want, James? When you're selling your place and it's on like Donkey Kong, like lawyers, for instance, not your typical, your typical lawyer, you just can't contact them after 5. You just can't contact them till after 9. They get their job done well. A good lawyer gets their job done well. They don't need to be contactable all hours after hours. They control that environment. So I don't know why real estate agents, I guess, a good power agent will work all hours to be responsive, but maybe it's a higher stake transaction.
Possibly. I think it's an interesting one. You're going to look at every different industry, and there's always, you've got your pros and you've got your people that are just scraping on the bottom of the barrel. And again, it's not to take anything away, but there's two very different types. There's the top and the bottom of every end of the spectrum, and you always want to look out for someone who's going to be servicing you, looking after your most valuable asset. It's got to be someone that's really going to be proactive and doing everything to get it done, not just someone that is signing on, signing off, in and out. There's a lot of differences in between, Mark.
It's interesting. I think when you're looking for an agent, you like to use someone that mirrors you a little bit. You like to use someone that you can identify with. You like to use someone that is, that if you could imagine yourself in real estate, that's what you'd be like. And I think that there is like room for all different types of animals as real estate agents, because you've got all different types of animals as customers, that match up. But definitely, I think career focus, school of hard knocks, get shit done, delivering on time, delivering well, fast, not scared, action packed real estate agent.
Yeah.
For me, that's exciting. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was selecting an agent, that's the type of agent I'd be sort of going for, that I'd think I'd be getting value.
Yeah.
You're paying the same amount.
Yeah.
So whether you're getting but sometimes you're not getting the love. These power agents don't have the compassion. Sometimes they're like, it's almost robotic and systemized what they're doing, and you don't feel like you're getting that
Yeah.
that
Lack
sort
of
of
empathy.
yeah, good word.
Yeah. All right. Well, through the year, you sort of have your hot and your cold spells, but this year's been a bit different. I think you can probably agree with that. It's been full on all the way through. Does it usually close down over Christmas time, Mark? What happens come December, January, in the market in general? Not talking about agents. Does the market seem to slow down and go dormant over Christmas?
The buyer emotion does not. The buyer emotion does not. The buyer emotion stays there. The emotion to buy just keeps on ticking. Probably gets even stronger because you've got time to think about it. Most people's works are sort of pulling back a little bit, pushing people into that holiday festive season, and you sort of think, you're on realestate.com. So the fact is, realestate.com go bananas with hits over this period. So to Domain. As a seller, an excellent time to sell. What is interesting when you're talking about this year, we decided to stay open all the way through, only the public holidays where we're closing down. When we've done that in the past, it's got very high traction. Again, I think it's the attitude of your real estate agent that's more important in what we're talking about than the market. Because if your agent's going gun-ho, you'll get a great result over the next 4 weeks. When a lot of stock leaves the market, you'll be selling in isolation, not in competition.
Yeah, I found it really interesting. We were in an appraisal? We were doing something at the beginning of the week, and you mentioned how realestate.com domain gets more traction in December than it does from the 6 months leading up to it in general, in total. Sorry. Now, correct me if I'm slightly wrong on that, but
December, January. Yep. The December, January 2 months carry more volume in hits than the 6 months prior.
Yeah. And classically, there's a little bit less stock over this period. So if you are trying to get on the market and you've got an agent that's working for you every single day through the Christmas period, you're going to be seen by a lot of eyeballs. And yeah, the traction should be huge. So it's actually a great time to sell as long as the people working for you are on it through this whole period.
And if you're a buyer, seek out that agent that's working through Christmas. Don't be disheartened if you're like, it's not open, it's not open, it's not open. Go to the properties that are open. The agents are continuing all the way through, because genuinely a lot of agents deserve a holiday, are taking a holiday that 2, 3, 4 weeks through this period coming up, but a lot are not. Those ones that are not are motivated to sell property, to sell their clients' property. So if you're a buyer, don't be disheartened if you're taking a small cross section and you can't get through the properties or they're not open. Keep going. You'll find the agents that are working through and the properties that are available to see.
Yeah, it's an interesting one thinking about it. And I just had in my head for a moment then, selling a property through Christmas period, but it's tenanted. How do you sort of negotiate that? As I know that's going a little bit off the topic here a little bit, but all of these different scenarios, there's ways you can work around them, whether it's vacant property, whether it's tenanted. And I think there's probably a little bit of tiptoeing around it and people thinking it's a bit uneasy seeing properties through Christmas. But if you've got solid tenants, if you can get through these properties, you can get these transactions done for the new year. And it gives people a little bit of peace of mind and security over what they're planning for the times ahead, as opposed to having to sit on the plan until the beginning of the year and then wait till January and then January, February. Do you see what I mean, Mark? It allows people to future plan or plan ahead a little bit more than maybe what they expected they could have done.
Well, a power agent or lifestyle agent, we are families selling to families. That's what we do. And by allowing this transaction to happen, by smashing it through that Christmas period, is allowing families to sell to families, is allowing people to get into new homes and out of old homes. So it's exciting to be able to facilitate that
Yeah.
emotion and those families into that, and it's great. I think it. And again, it doesn't mean, I'm not saying we're awesome because we're open through Christmas. I'm just saying, we're as a buyer or as a seller, if you need the service done, seek the agent that's doing it. Whether they're doing it out of motivation to get people into homes, out of have to pay some debt back because of COVID, or
Yeah.
not going away, so we're going to work anyway. Whatever the reason is, find the agents that are pumping through.
Yeah, and I think this year of all years is probably the year where most people are still going to have their bums in their seats in Australia, as opposed to bums in their seats on planes and elsewhere. So there's a lot going on this year with most people staying within Australia. Um, it changes the game a little bit, doesn't it? What is it? Australia has a sort of figure the other day: 70% of the population leaves Australia through the year, something along the lines of that. And I
Is
can't
it
imagine.
really?
It's that might not be quite what the figure was, but it's something. It was something along those lines, which was it was a big one, and it just gets you thinking a little bit. Without any international travel at the moment, there are people that are thinking, "What am I going to do over this time?" And flicking for property, flicking for cars, flicking for all of these things is going to be high up on people's lists of what they're doing, having all this extra free time.
Yeah, and look, I think that definitely the traffic has been bloody nuts.
Yeah,
So that's been pretty incredible. So seeing that in the last probably couple of weeks, when it traditionally goes really quiet over this period that we're coming into, as soon as we hit school holidays, I noticed the traffic drops right off.
yeah.
At the moment, I've noticed it gone the other way. As soon as school holidays hit, the traffic went up in the area. So I think it's going to be a really interesting year ahead, and I think it's going to be a really interesting 3 months, 2 months for over this period for property, like incredible. So it's going to be a big one to stay tuned for.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's quite interesting, isn't it, when you sort of compare the two? And again, you don't ever want to. I think there are times where you might have to be a bit of a lifestyle agent just for your own well-being for short periods of time.
Yeah, maybe that could be the same animal.
Oops, guys, I think Mark's been cut out. I'm just going to see if he can quickly rejoin. Apologies for that. All right, well, guys, I don't know what happened to Mr. Novak, but I hope you enjoyed it this morning. We'll be back on in the morning tomorrow.